What's up, people? Today I am getting into my Star Wars The Last Jedi review. Coming up for you guys next. So Star Wars The Last Jedi is a continuation of Rey and Finn's story that was established in The Force Awakens. We again have Daisy Ridley as Rey and John Boyega as Finn, and we again have most of the original trilogy cast here with Mark Hamill, Carrie Fisher, and yeah, Chewbacca. Now, I'm going to say right off the top that I am going to avoid major plot points of this movie and spoilers just because of the fact that a lot actually happens in this movie and people are very much looking forward to seeing this movie. So I will just say that I will give a very broad rundown of what the movie is about, and then I will give my general impressions but save a lot of the finer details for my spoiler video that I will most certainly do right after this one. Now, one thing that is made infinitely clear right off the top from the very first scene here is that the J.J. Abrams feel that The Force Awakens had, it's largely been excised, actually. And that is because we have a new director at the helm here, Rian Johnson, who did Looper and Brick, two films that I absolutely love, and he gives this movie its own style, and he gives this movie really a voice. I really do like The Force Awakens, but I will say one criticism that I have is it really didn't come up with any new ideas. It relied a lot on callbacks and a lot on nostalgia, and there's nothing wrong with that. I really do. I'll say that I love that movie, but at the same point in time, I was ready after that one for something new and for this trilogy that they're making to show me what it's got. And Rian Johnson, the director, absolutely did that here. And for me, he is the star of this movie just because of the voice that he gives this movie. I will say that this Star Wars movie feels unlike any other Star Wars movie that you have ever seen, and that is a major compliment. And I know some people don't like that about this movie, and I've heard all of the negative feedback on the internet, and for me, I feel like the fact that this doesn't feel like any other Star Wars movie, really, it is establishing its own voice and establishing its push to the forward momentum, and I really do dig that about this movie. And right from the get-go with Rey and Han Solo's interaction, I just feel like there is a sense of comedy here that wasn't in the other films. A lot of the comedy that was in those other films was largely unfunny to me, looking back at it as an adult. But this movie, I feel like, has a different comedy that I feel like it is just more, it sets you off guard, and it knows what you want and what you expect to see, and then it kind of twists it and still gives you what you want, but at the same point in time puts a little funny twist on it that I genuinely liked. And a lot of that comes from Rey and Luke's interplay at the beginning of this movie, where The Force Awakens left off. And I won't tell you anything, I will just say that this movie picks up in a way that you wouldn't expect, and it is really funny just because of the way that The Force Awakens left off. Daisy Ridley and John Boyega are still excellent in their roles, and even though they are separated for the majority of this movie, I feel like they don't lose anything by not interacting with each other. They still have their strong arcs that they have, and they are still very likable characters that I will say I like just as much as the original cast, and I feel like a lot of that has to do with how well these actors play these characters, and I just can't say enough about them. And to give a brief rundown of what this movie actually is about, basically a battle between the First Order and the Rebels, and that is a large portion of the movie. And then, of course, you have Rey and Luke's story arc where she has to find him and she wants to discover why he abandoned the Jedi. Now, this movie has a lot to cover, but I will say that it covers what it has to very damn well, and it feels like a more complete story than The Force Awakens. And I really compliment Disney and the filmmaker here just by giving us that complete story. Now, I definitely have to talk about the returning cast. You know, you have Mark Hamill as Luke. He came in at the end of The Force Awakens. He definitely has a larger role here, and he does really good. You know, he's been doing a lot of voice acting, and he appeared on the Flash TV show. He definitely is the one that comes back for this movie with the most experience, and he definitely carries that. And then you have Carrie Fisher. You know, I will just say that her passing away last year was very tragic, and I definitely feel for her. But at the same point in time, I do have to recognize that I feel like she's the weak link. It is painful for me to say just because I don't want to feel like I'm coming down hard on her as a person. But at the same point in time, I really just have to point out that it looks like she's had a rough life at this particular point in her life. And yeah, I felt for her. And as for her character, there are some things that happened with Leia here that I don't necessarily 100% go with. But at the same point in time, I largely dismissed that about this movie just because of the fact that I liked other things that were going on in the movie itself. The Last Jedi was a lot of fun, and I definitely appreciate all of the characters and all of the work that it took to build this story and really give it its own voice. Rian Johnson is an excellent director. I've liked all of his other films, but at the same point in time, I didn't really expect him to give this movie as much of a voice as it definitely has, and I really appreciate about this movie. It is one of my favorite Star Wars movies, actually, and I will give it a 9 out of 10. And that is largely because when I was watching this on screen, I had so much fun, and I feel like it is just pulling this in a new direction that I'm very curious of. I definitely have problems with it, but at the same point in time, I have problems with Apocalypse Now, and you know, that is one of my favorite films as well. There is no such thing as a perfect film, in my mind anyway. So guys, next I do have to go into spoilers for this movie, and I will put that in a separate review for you guys. I will have it coming up really damn soon, and after that, I am going to be getting into the Kingsman Blu-ray that is sitting right here, and I can't wait to talk to you about that as well. So if you are looking forward to those videos, subscribe because they are going to be coming at you in a rapid pace, and I know you want to check that out over the holidays. And hey guys, I know that there is a lot of hate for this movie, and I want to talk to you guys about it. So if you disagree with me, I want to know about it, and I want to have a conversation with you. Comment down below, and let's have a conversation about it. And as always, guys, thank you for watching my videos. You guys are great, and I will see all of you for the spoilers next time.